time now for us to bring you KAKAKI Sports, and Sembe Shima is standing by right now to bring that to you.
Good morning.
Morning, Sembe.
Good morning, Kunle.
How was the weekend?
It was great.
Full of sporting activity as usual.
Yes, very interesting as well. I'm getting right into it now, my guest.
All right.
After. All right, good morning and welcome to KAKAKI Sport. This is a beautiful Monday morning indeed, and like Kunle said, and we said, so much to look forward to, so much to talk about in the world of sports, besides in the world of football over the weekend, from trending stories to disappointment to shocking revelations. All of that will be up for discussion this morning. And my guest is joining me right now in the studio talking about Tolu Ogutime. He is sport analyst, a sport journalist in his own right, who knows every nitty-gritty of sports when it comes to Nigerian football and, of course, Nigerian sport generally. Good morning, Tolu.
I like the sound of that when you say nitty-gritty. Yeah. It's a pleasure to be with you this morning.
All right, good morning, indeed. Yeah. So quickly, let's get right into it. A lot happened over the weekend, but let's start with the World Cup qualifiers, of course, block of draws and African teams in that particular tournament. What is your analysis of the groups that are house the 9 African teams that have qualified for this group? Let's start with the group, of course, that concerns South Africa, the opening fixture against Mexico. Yeah,
it's really going to be an interesting World Cup for the African teams. Somebody jokingly said something last night about the fact that France and Senegal, 2 African teams, may be in the same team, in the same group and stuff like that. But I think it's going to be an interesting World Cup for African nations. The fact that we have 9 African teams participating in the World Cup, the highest number we ever had in a long while, even though the coach of Italy, Gattuso, has been whining about that, looking at the number of slots given to Africa. But I think African football has come of age, especially when you look at the level of display and also the caliber of players that we have right there. It's time for Africa to really showcase what we are. I think there's one World Cup that Africa needs to prove a point that they have what it takes to rub shoulders with the big boys.
Just dwelling on that fact that you said Africa needs to prove a point. Now South Africa being the opening fixture against Mexico, repeat of 2010, and also we have Cote d'Ivoire, Africa's champion, in that group that most people tag a rather very simple group, aside from Germany, who is a contender, or should I say, of qualifying out of that group. Your take on basically just too quickly. Africa for the opening fixture.
I don't think in any group that needs a group, especially when you look at the caliber of people. Mexico do have pedigree when it comes to playing at the World Cup. They've hosted the World Cup in the past, and they also have the quality of players to be able to go there. So for South Africa, a repeat of what happened in 2010. But this time around, they need to do better than what they did in 2010 because they want to prove a point. They have the quality of players that have been able to graduate. Even though the majority of the players are playing their football at their own ground, right? They're talking about the domestic league, but they want to move on to a different level, and I think they have a very good chance of making it out of this group, especially with the way Hugo Broos has been able to package this South African side. They play a wonderful brand of football. They call themselves the Brazilians of Africa, but they do like to play good football right there. Though at times may not get the kind of result they want, but I think this time around they have a very good chance of making it out of that group.
Right, indeed. So hopefully South Africa will prove everybody wrong, and like Tolu said, make it out of that group. That seems to be one of the very tough group of the tournament. And also, then Cote d'Ivoire, African champions, will also put a mark to Africa's name as they progress out of that group when the World Cup gets underway next year. But now the focus will be AFCON. So let's come back to the AFCON now. I mean, a shocking revelation over the weekend where TROOST EKONG, the Super Eagles captain, came out to reveal that he is quitting international football at the time when Nigeria is preparing for one of the biggest, or the biggest rather, showpiece in Africa. What's your take on that? How do you perceive the whole situation? Quickly.
I'm really not happy that he's quitting at this time, but I know definitely when it comes to the quality he brings to the table, this is not the TROOST EKONG we know of last year that won the most valuable player at the African Cup of Nations. His performance has dropped a little bit, and some said probably because he moved to Saudi Arabia, probably accelerated his level of competition right there. But away from that, I don't think that African Football League has taken anything away from me. I think a lot of diminishing return is setting in when it comes to TROOST EKONG right there. We saw some of the mistakes he made during the African World Cup qualifiers right there. We felt a younger and agile player would have done better. That's why when Benjamin Frederick came out to the scene, a lot of Nigerians are happy. He's been able to cover that little bit of space that is no longer available for TROOST EKONG. But I'm not happy with the fact that he's bowing out at this Nations Cup, before the Nations Cup, considering the fact that we have the opportunity of taking 28 players to the Nations Cup. And I think TROOST EKONG experience could have come to bear. But some insinuations from different countries are saying because of what happened at the World Cup qualifier, that drives major reason why. But I don't think that's the best way for us to have treated TROOST EKONG, because he has given so much to this country. He has made so much sacrifice. And I think Nations Cup should have been the last hurrah for him, not including his name. If he's going to retire from, why
do that? His name that's where the controversy comes.
In the 54-man list. For me, I don't think the Nigeria Football Federation has done well in that regard. They could have done better. better. Though they issue a press statement commending him for his sacrifice, but I think it could have handled better.
All right, let's now hope that that situation, perhaps, as people go out of international football and still come back to, participate. Hopefully, when the AFCON is drawing closer, or the 28-man list, perhaps that's the reason why they're delaying the list. And comes closer, we'll see TROOST come back on and say, okay, I'll play this last one before I hang the boot on international football. Yeah. But now let's touch on league football. Of course, league football also will happen during the weekend. Of course, starting with the Nigeria Premier League, matches were played during the weekend. And it's shocking one there for a lot of people. I mean, Tolu, quickly, if you're going to look at the City sitting on top of the table in the NPFL. Do you think that was going to happen in this time? Like
Ikorodu City has been knocking at the top of the table for the past two seasons right now. I remember when they gained promotion to last season, a lot of people never thought they would be campaigning. To the point, they were so close to securing a CAF Confederation Cup ticket. So they've been able to continue with that. And I think I'm happy with what is happening at Ikorodu City, the way the management has been able to marshal the team. They continue to work assiduously, bringing in new crop of young players. Even during the transfer window, a lot of players left Ikorodu City, but they've been able to produce new set of young players who's been able to give every other club a run for their money. So I'm happy with what Ikorodu City is doing. I'm happy it's a graduation of what they've been doing in the last 3 seasons, from the National League down to the Premier League. Now they've been able to sustain that momentum. I think the people at Ikorodu City do have their heads locked down, and they've been able to work assiduously.
All right, hopefully we'll get to see a lot of that reflect in the 28-man squad when the AFCON comes out. I mean, if the NPFL players are doing that well, as you've said, we would like to see some of them reflect in that list. But now let's not wrap up the conversation of that touching on the EPL. I mean, a lot of shocking results, precisely for Arsenal fans and also for a lot of fans as well, Chelsea fans maybe. But your thought, which results really did it for you quickly?
Borrowing the word of Ayo Fayose, a former governor of Kisi, Arsenal fans are in severe pain right now because they've been dropping points where they had no business. A lot of them thought for them to prove they are really tight to contender, they should have beaten Chelsea. Even with Chelsea playing with a man down, they couldn't get the door done. They defeated Brentford, but Aston Villa has been a banana peel for Arsenal. And a lot of people, a lot of Arsenal fans, they would have been an opportunity that this is our season. We should be able to streamroll everybody. Unfortunately, that didn't come to be, and they're really sad for them. And now they have Manchester City breathing down their neck, and he knows a lot of Arsenal fans
3 points away now.
Yeah, just like once Manchester City takes over that #1 position, they're going to stop them. And that's what Arsenal fans are not happy. But a really sad one for Arsenal. Let's hope they can be able to turn around their corner. They do have the quality of players to be able to do that, but they need to deliver regularly.
All right, Cindy, that's a good place to stop the conversation. Hopefully, Arsenal's fan will pick that advice and perhaps just relax and enjoy the season pan out. But thank you so much, Tolu Olugutimei, for coming on the show this early morning. I know how difficult it can be, but you made it. Yeah. Thank you so much for being on the show this morning. Oh, well, that's our sport package on KAKAKI Sports. Thanks for being a part of it. I am Simbi Shima. KAKAKI continues, so stay tuned.
You know that naming and shaming of